Good morning. Kind of quiet out there, but this market, well, it's poised to go up. Now it better get going. You know, we'll see what happens here. But got a decent pattern now, much better than what it was. Right? So looking at the cues here, I didn't like this pattern. Coming down here for the long, and I thought could turn into a measured move lower. Right, one pattern. You get patterns; they produce thoughts, right, based on how we look at them, and just based on pattern recognition, past patterns. That what do they typically produce? So, as a long pattern, right, this pullback here historically doesn't do well. Meaning, unless it's like a super bull market, and what this isn't, if things are in an uptrend, and a year or two ago, maybe it could work out, especially with coming off of a low like this correction. But this has been in a downtrend. Taking out these highs gives us a long bias. That being said, not a bull market. So this gapping and crapping sort of like that was exactly what I expected would happen, and then thought was okay. Now it'll come down to the 20 and the 50, converging there, which was the original thought over here. So now, as the pattern progresses, and this is the power, the beauty of the concept of bar by bar analysis, is that look, I can have a thought based on this pattern, but I always have something that'll adjust immediately based on what happens to the price actions. So yesterday, things started out lower, right? You can see the red bar there, and it's like, okay, here we go, right? Let's go down and peg those moving averages down there, and then we get this monster reversal there, right? So when we do MT Live, which we do have one today at 12 o'clock, psychology of patterns. And this is a good example of it. This is what I'm talking about here. Is like, what is psychology as a day trader or any trader? Technically, it's like patterns produce thoughts, which create beliefs about the future. Okay, big wide range bar, gap and crap. Oh, it's going down. Oh yeah, watch this. Rips right back up, 100% retracement. So there's a slide in the MT Live that says, call it whatever you want, it's going up. And this is, I think, the picture of what, where it looks something like that. And so that immediately shifts your thought to, oh yeah, where? Well, you look to the left. It's like, hey, this thing clearing these pivots, this has got to go up here. And lo and behold, it did. And so now we've got this bar that it takes out the low, going back to the daily time frame, and it's a strong close. So now we have a belief that it should go up here and potentially even take it out because of the strength of this move and this bottoming pattern. So now we see what happens. Right? Things are down a little bit. You can see the little cursor there, and it's right at yesterday's high, give or take, but it was a little higher before that news came out. And there's the Fed minutes today. We'll see if that makes much of a difference. But, initially, the first stop is not that far off, which is the top of the gap and crap bar. And since this has been running up for a little while, it may hit that and immediately get knocked back down. We'll see. If it's super bullish, it's going to go through it. And then ultimately, up here. Getting up here today, I think, would be a stretch. But if today does well, it should hit there Friday morning. Remember, it's half a day. We got holiday tomorrow. It should go up there. So that's the bias based on this chart. One of the things that I spoke about, it's over the last week or so, was as this bottomed, that the tech and Qs should be able to outperform since it was such a big underperformer. Right? So the idea of bringing up the rear, and so then we'll see. I mean, this this is what has been beaten down. And you think about sector rotation or money, flowing from what has done well into what hasn't done well, because that has the greater potential to move up and show some relative strength because it was the weaker. And of course, is there a void? Well, it's not a great void. That's for sure. But it's the start. It's the start of something. And if it can get through here, then we can start talking about the 200 MA next week. We'll see, what actually plays out. So spiders. Now, they're so close to the prior high. Whereas, okay, they've done a little better. And look at the pattern here, right? So yesterday, the Qs went down there and tested that low. Whereas the S&Ps, they gapped up and, they held on and now they're close. So the Qs have greater potential to move up because they have more room, which is really just common sense. They've pulled back. They've made a nice little bottom action there. And, the stopping point one, and then it should go through it. And absolutely should not come down here. And when it gets up here, right, whether that's today or Friday or whatever, but the faster this moves up, let's say it does go up there today, right? So we're going a little further with the thought process. That's where resistance is. And at that point, you need to be thinking, take profits. If you like something that has got beaten down, maybe you want to sell a covered call. Underperformers, maybe certain things would be short setups. You take this pattern that's happening here where it popped up and it broke down under these pivots, something like this, like the stock has run up this time frame, it's run up to here. And now you start looking for this kind of a pattern in a smaller time frame for shorts. But that's way off. That'll be next week if it's going to play out. But just pointing out, as we have trading ranges and mark off those levels, we take note of how they act down there. Something like this, right? It's down here, right? It's opened up to fall, but it flips right back up. So it was like, wow, that's a pretty powerful reversal. A bit of a surprise in the moment, but because of the location where it is, like, okay, I get it. It does make sense. So, okay, let's get going. And so everything we do is, wash and repeat, so to speak. Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it sideways? Where is it in context of those locations? All right, so back to spiders. And they're getting a little weaker. So we always take a look at this to see where it is in relation to the prior day's range. Is this moving down? And there's still 20 minutes to go to the open. Where's it going to open up within yesterday's range? And of course, if it's down here, or it keeps going down, let's say it's down here, it's like, hey, this whole thought of this bullish bias and so on and so forth, is that going out the window if this opens up down here? So we're always shifting our bias or beliefs based on what is, because if we don't have that, well, I'm stuck in this thought of it's going up, but now it's down here and I don't want to accept that. And that's what's kind of what today's going to be in part about with MT Live, but you need a method that allows you to make adjustments. And to what degree are you making those adjustments? And so right now, where prices are at, my bias is not changing based on this daily chart. So what I want to see, now it's broken through this support. Okay, this is still okay. Might it come down here? It could. That's still going to be, 50% of that green bar. So not ideal. And you can see where it is on the hourly chart. Not a big deal. But what we want to see is, I'm spreading this out so you can see it better. And maybe this will begin happen. See it's a pivot? You do, because it says it is. Maybe a retest here and a wide range bar up, which would then guide us to, hey, This created support in a smaller time frame. It's at the top of this bar here, right? Maybe this is the beginning of the turn where this begins to follow through. So Qs will be better since this will reach its destination. And we've been talking about this big open interest at 4,000 in SPX. So that's been kind of keeping things gyrating around here for a while. All right. So, all right, we see where this is, top of the range, SPX, right? And there it is at 4,000. And it's so close to the pivot high. So last I looked, I don't like these since they're pretty much within striking distance, was 4,055, which isn't bad. It's above this pivot. So can it get to 4,055 today? Well, yeah, it could. But it's got to get through that pivot. So you got a line of protection, and the 200 MA is a little bit above that. So not bad. And down below was 39.30, which is below 39.50. And this little bar right there, right? You can see that bar, that little pivot there. So it's pretty tight. I wouldn't call it any of these no-brainers because the prices haven't moving very much. So things begin to tighten up. Whereas, look, if this was gapping up here, it'd probably be premium at 4,100 and we'd have a no-brainer scenario. Is that a 2020 bar on the 15-minute chart? Frenchie, what, I've been moving around here. 2020 bar is just defined by a bar that has small tails on the top and bottom. And in reality, the true thing you'd want to look at or creating with your definitions, if you were going to put that in a scan, be a little better to be a 10-10 bar. So, wide range bar. Let's call it a wide range bar with very small tails. But a bar in of itself means nothing, right? Bottoming tail bar means nothing until you put it in the context of the trend and the location where it's formed. Any of you guys, ladies, thinking about MTS course, swing course? Now is the time. Holiday specials after Thanksgiving. May want to consider that. Best prices of the year. So Russell, kind of messy, but not bad for a day trading. Bottoming action. It's got room to move up. The 200 MA, it's kind of lined up with that pivot, but if the markets are going to perk up here, that should go through that. So that's not bad. That's a nice pattern, right? Bottoming tail bar, red bar, 180. It's up here near the high. That's its first destination, and kind of a whippy here. And it is what it is, as far as the whip going on and sitting through that. It's really pretty messy, from an intraday trading point of view. In this time frame, it came down, nailed those pivots. So unless it opens up and just reverses this again, it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a touch and go at the open. We'll see how it plays out. YM, little red here, but not a big deal on that time frame. This is moving lower. It's at resistance. This should underperform compared to the Qs because it outperformed on the way up. And Mr. Bitcoin, kind of just running in place. Same story. What do we do here? Mark off the levels. Mark off the levels. Trading range. Top of the range. Don't be a buyer. Maybe, it holds this pivot or it's going all the way back down here. Sellers up here, buyers down there. Pretty simple. dollar. What is it? Moving down. So a little surprising. The dollar's inching lower and the markets are kind of inching lower here on that news. So jittery. Let's take a look at the 10-year. Yeah, kind of. I don't like this as a sell setup. Why? Yeah, it was weak. I don't like sell setups where the prior low is lurking right there and there was no range expansion bars. There's no shock patterns over here. But from an intraday point of view, right, as a scalping point of view, once you get a pivot, once in the smaller time frame, you can then look to sell or short retests of that pivot. But okay, coming down here from a day trading point of view, okay, that's fine. But from a swing trading point of view, it's just, it might break the low, but I know there's going to be buyers down there, like the day traders, right? There's going to be buyers down there because in that time frame, that's how it's going to work. And what else to look at here? Oh, moving back up. Right? It was dead for a while. The debate, 50 basis points, 75 basis points. I guess 75 would be looked at as being worse. But the other point of view is, I think majority would agree that they're probably going to be on hold if they did that. But we'll see. We'll see. Fed minutes today. We'll see. And transports. You know, not the greatest, but you know, still that little hook pattern there. So that's about it from me, Dan. There was no premium at 3,900, Rob.
Good morning. Last full trading day of the week. Earnings last night. We only did one official one, Autodesk. Gapping against us here, but we have the 182.50s, so we're still over $8 away. As always, I'll be watching it. I'm curious of what they'll open up because it's always a battle between any gap against you and volatility crush. I also did JWN myself. I did the 18s, also gapping down a buck and change, but with 99.9% certainty, I'm going to have an open game at the open, because 18 that expires in 1.5 trading days is not going to be worth anything. That's still $3.14 away. Well, what do you mean unexpected? Alex, you know me. Are you kidding? There's no such thing as unexpected when you're dealing with pending news and earnings. The market tells me where it wants to gap. Microsoft, so Greg talked about the Qs, which look higher, but Microsoft obviously being a big component of the Qs, I like this pattern better than the Qs or the indexes. And that's why it's, big breakout, deep retracement, going sideways for 2 weeks here. So right on this afternoon breakout, we bought a bull called Devispring. Absolutely, more better. As the Credit Suisse lost 1.8 billion in the quarter. They got some serious problems there. Deere, we were trying to sell puts on Deere, but they sucked out the juice. But that's a beautiful pattern. Beautiful strong pattern there. 20, 50, 200, red bars ignored, gap downs ignored. That's a beast. Gap into 430, nothing to do with it. Always look at the cousin, cat, nothing to do there. Thomas, MPC, you gotta ask me a question, Thomas. Or I'm just wasting time. We entered it yesterday. PD Doc has asked me, was JWN a green call? Well, it was an idea, PD Doc, that I sent in Telegram. I sent it in Telegram just saying, hey, it's an idea for those of you who wanted it, like me. Well, we're already in it, Thomas. We're in it. It looks good. I guess it was looking around here. Look at Hilton and Marriott. It's very bullish price action at resistance daily. But look, well, this one's not as good, not a good price for it, but I'm going to keep an eye on those for put spreads. MU also, a deep retracement. A breakout this far should not have retraced this far. Nevertheless, it's making the turn on support in the 20. So that's a put spread idea. XHB, we have some preliminary PMI or whatever at 945. We got housing at 10. We got some oil consumer confidence. We got some oil numbers 1030. But on this housing, I've been saying for a while here, if we hold this low on the daily, which we did, I got a 1, 2, 3 here on the weekly. And look, it went all the way up to this resistance, and it's 2 weeks of bullish inside consolidation. If this breaks out, target, I don't know, 67 maybe, that'd be another 10% run. VMware earnings gapping down. We'll come back to you. Manu, I missed this yesterday. Into the close, wide range. I was hoping for an inside bar for 1, 2, 3, but it's now moving again. Somebody mentioned pins yesterday. Yeah, it's a buy setup. Could be a trade. Snow, we were looking for a put spread, but there was no juice. Expedia, I like. Let's see, it's sloppy, but it made the turn. The turn at the 50, so I posted that as a put spread. Texan we did yesterday, put spread. Let's say this one's stronger than Expedia because it's in an uptrend above all the moving averages, but it also made this turn. So that was a good put spread. FIS bottoming pattern, 30-minute high, maybe a day trade. And these are a couple other earning stocks. VNet opening flat, no pattern. Guess 1850. It's a mess. I don't know what to do with that. Tags. That looks horrible. Gapping down 15% and a downtrend looks horrible. Hewlett Packard said they were going to have some layoffs now. That ain't bad. That's not bad. That could be a 30-minute high. I'll get rid of my Microsoft here. Hewlett Packard is a definite watch. Autodesk we know about. These are just some leftovers now. Uniform. Someone in the green room mentioned this little cup and handle or flag, call it whatever you want. Here's my flagpole. Little bull flag. That looks good. Netflix, we did a put spread yesterday. I should have covered half into the close because we're almost at 80% of max profit. A cream bottoming pattern. This would be a nice look. It's not a triple bottom. It's just retested major support multiple times. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I'll put that in a window. cream and uniform I like. A square, deeper tracement again, but a buy setup. Adma Russell, it's not bad, came in kind of clumsily, but let's, as always, time, relax at the open, time things. See what the broader markets do, but maybe 15-minute high kind of thing. I can't give you an exact, but it's a long watch. I noticed these two pizza companies. Let's see, look, this is a buy setup. Big move to the 200, came back. And remember Greg was talking about in coaching yesterday, and also all the time, he likes multiple bar turn. Here's an example. We got a 4-bar turn because there was no support over here. So I got an alarm, I think 83.25. That looks good. And DPZ, different pattern, but a breakout. I got an alarm at 379. Fizzler's been a beast. That's as strong as can be. This is a short watch, 1, 2, 3 under the lows. AAP, this I've been watching for a naked put on this cap down, but and that's pretty much all what I got now. And we're in FedEx swing, but it's I agree with Greg. Some of these patterns they're poised to go and they're not going. It's like they're out of juice. And we know the deal. If the expectations are all that they're going to go up and they don't, we don't want to get caught holding the bag of people hitting the exit door. Let's see what else. Charter is on a long watch. Sloppy buy setup. CMCSA, Alex mentioned, that's a breakout. That looks good. Let me make sure I have an alarm. Like 35.15. All right, alarm set. What else can we look at? I'm stalled. When I look at Hewlett Packard, bottom right is giving it up now. I don't know, where did I get filled on? Had to be one of my profits. A DPZ alarm. A CMCSA alarm.
Absolutely.
All right, this yeah, Hewlett Packard, I got no interest. Let's close this. Let's close. Just I don't like big gaps against me, so the